Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So a couple things today. I wanted to catch you up on my title page. I have done just some general stitching, not much more embellishing. I did put a bit of tatting down here, but I'm just working into the background lots of stitches. So I did up through there just with running stitch, nice and close together because I feel like this is quite a small tight scale piece. Seed stitch all through here, and I thought I'd better just stop because I mentioned in a previous video that I want to add more of this. So I found my piece and I'm going to fussy cut some more elements out and layer it in. I feel like this is a bit plain through here, so I just want to thicken it up. And before I spend all the time seed stitching, I thought, or you know, just general stitching, I want to add some more pieces. So welcome everyone. If you're new and you're wondering what it's all about, it is the Roxy Journal of Stitchery series, volume 6, and the theme is field notes, and it's connected loosely to either your environment or Edith Holden is a major inspirer for all of us. So yeah, and then I've got an idea here that I want to work through with you guys. Now, thank you to the lovely Linda Williams. She posted a photo or two in the comments on the Roxy Journal Stitchery Facebook site. When I posted up part 2, Linda in the comments showed 2 photos of where people have stitched onto an Edith Holden page. And I thought, oh, yes, let's have a try at that. So I sat down and I pulled out a page that I don't mind, but I was concerned that it didn't really match the colour scheme of all the reds and the Lucello fabric that I had shown in the very first video. And I thought, you know, I'm going to try it on this. If it works really well, it might even be, I'm going to change my colour scheme that underlies all this. And the other reason I'm thinking along that line, because the Lucello fabric's very reds and olives and things like that, very bold, is this is so neutral. Edith's pages are gorgeous on their own, and to bring in stronger fabrics around them limited how many pages I could access in the few that I had in my book. Now, where's my tearaway book? What did I do with it? Don't tell me I walked away. Just hold that thought while I have a quick look for my Edith book. Gosh, where did it go? It must be beside me here. Nope. Under there. Ah, here it is. So I have an Edith Holden book that I've nibbled into when I was making journals. So I feel like I've got a donor copy with random bits and pieces on it. So I don't feel so bad cutting into it because I went through the trauma of that a little while back. But some of the pages don't really fit with the Lucello. And I'm just grabbing out Lucello. Like that's the fabrics. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, who knows? At the moment, I don't feel like I'm bringing those fabrics in. And I think it's because my title page started off so neutral. So what I've done in preparation for playing with these fabrics, like I've got bits everywhere. I went on to a tailspin as soon as I saw the photos. I'm thinking, genius. So I grabbed my, okay, where's the start of all this business? I grabbed my concertina. Now, as you know, I have used pages that are covered, that's probably not even the right, covered with calico. Let me just get myself organised here. Concertinas can be a pain in the neck, let's be honest, because they flip-flop everywhere. But having backed all my fabrics with fabric, I feel like I do have some form of, backed all my pages as in a lightweight cardstock with fabric. I feel like I've got some form of rigidity and, you know, stability. Now that then gave me the idea that I've got these pages here that could be a sketch or a drawing, you know, as we go on our adventure. And then I've got pages that are fully covered in amongst it, which can be stitchery pieces. So I've sort of given myself lots of options is what I wanted to say. So let's assume that when my title page is finished, or my cover is finished, that's where it'll sit. It'll just glue onto the page. Having said that, I could stitch it on too. There's no trouble in stitching through that to hold it on if you didn't want to glue, which I might do as well. Who knows? I've got a bit of a tab which should help me open the concertina. So the next thought is, because it's a concertina, I've got all this surface, and then coming back through here, I've got all this surface. Pages can be added in, because where I've joined two pieces of card, that's potentially a spine for mini studies or mini journals. So it's, I think the concertina is going to be just perfect for this project. Now this, so I could flip to the rear here, and in would go my Edith page that I'm about to attempt to embellish. It's a so-so image, like I love it, but because of the Lucello red in my head, I had sort of pushed it aside. But the whole stitching into the page has made me rethink that. And because this became so neutral, I'm like, I just think maybe there's some other options. So I pulled out the glue and I've attached some calico to the rear of one of these pages. And in the process, I finished putting the rest of the calico through. So every fold and every valley has some form of calico, whether it's or muslin, whether it's the full piece. And I had these sitting in the cupboard. That's the only reason it's a full piece. I probably wouldn't have bothered if I was making it from scratch. Just make sure you get a little bit firmer card. Now, if you've caught Christine's video, she's using really firm card. I think she called it comic book card. So therefore her piece will stand on a shelf. So something else to consider in presenting your work. Anyway, let's stop rabbiting on. We'll get to that in a minute because I'm just too excited about this. Now, what I did, I thought at least it's drying now, is I used my ruler, my decal edge ruler. You don't have to do this, just tearing it with a sharp edged ruler like a metal ruler. You can get a bit of a deckled edge. I wouldn't do it with a ruler that, like this quilting ruler has like a little edge, like a side. You want a ruler that is very fine. So a metal ruler is great. And I just lined it all up and ripped back the page a little so that all these bits came off. So if you're a journaler, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you're only a fabric person and you haven't even put a toe into the journal making area, this is one of the things that we do regularly, is just rip down our work to get a nice little edge on it to make it look a little bit more rustic. Even this one went crooked. Look at this. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I then covered the whole back of my paper with the glue, popped it on here, and I'm ready to rock and roll, I think, and stitch. So I grabbed out some wools, grabbed out some pearl cottons. I'm not sure what the best way is to proceed with threads. I just got myself a little collection. So that should be dry. Now the other thing I want to do, because it wouldn't be a Corrine project without some embellishing, so I've got myself some bits here, and in the process I found this. So I am, while we wait for that to dry just a little bit more, I just want to fussy cut out. This is a little embroidery from a table runner. I think I used it in the Christmas Volume 2 with the Roxy Girls. I can't remember. I've used it a few times. And that's sort of my last little bit. So pop that aside. got my needles, yeah. I was just so excited to get in here and film. There's a needle with a thread attached. Oh my goodness, what a hot mess. This is what happens when you lot give me inspiration. It's like, oh my goodness, I must try. So yeah, thanks Linda. You sent me into a spin. I was sitting quietly on the couch, having a sip of a coffee, catching up on all of the comments from my videos. And I'm like, oh, look at that. I'm not sure where you found your inspiration. I went onto Pinterest and typed in a few words that may have brought something up, but it didn't. It was more just journals made of Edith pages. So I thought, oh, that's all right. Just what Linda showed was enough for me to go off in a tailspin. So sometimes you only need a glimpse of something and you're like, your brain starts firing, doesn't it? And then off you go. So that's the plan. It's probably not dry enough to stitch through, but I think we can try a little something, and if it looks like it's going to work, it will work. We'll make it work. So with sewing through paper, you've got a couple options. You can create the hole before you stitch, and that way you just, go for it. Or you just take the punt that your needle's going to come up or go down in the right spot for your stitch. So you need to have a little think about that, because paper, once there's a hole, that's it. There's no repairing it. So yeah, that's where Corrine probably needs to just slow down a little bit now and have a think. If I'm going to do a lazy daisy, what holes would you need to do a lazy daisy? And then maybe with my pokey tool, like a book awl, make the two little holes, is what I'm sort of thinking. If you want it to be random, well then, go for it. So that's a little piece. This is a little piece. And I grabbed one of them, and that was sitting on my table. So I don't know if I need to add a little bit of that because it sort of links it to the other pages, or I save this morsel and link it in over here. Either way. So let's have a little look at, where's this piece? I sort of feel like it could be dainty. This is out of a blouse that I found at a thrift store. I've used it so many times. And then I thought maybe something like that as well. Get that off of there. So I think we could quite easily bring fabrics into this stitching as well, which will help tie it to your pages that are just all fabric. I'm thinking I could probably lose the little flower. Oh, we're going to break it down even more. And maybe have it coming out from underneath there. Maybe we break this down a little bit more. If it doesn't look right, I'm not concerned, because these little pieces we'll use somewhere. I'm waiting for this to dry as well, so let's just have a fiddle. Sort of having the curl the right way. Let's nibble this one out. Sometimes smaller bits allow you to have more flexibility. See what I mean? You can, hope it's in camera. Yep. Minor detail. There we go. I like that. Yeah, I like that. It's soft. No, don't need another butterfly because we have a flying critter. So there you go. There's my piece. Now, I think that will need to be just glued down. Stitching it, I guess, could be done, but because we got paper involved, I think we need to glue it. Yeah. I'm thinking that's the way to proceed. So now technically I should stitch and then do this, but I just want to give you guys a quick overview of where I'm thinking we could integrate a little bit more of the Edith pages, because this journal for me is a tribute to Edith, and I'm going to try and work the Roxy's prompts in with the Edith. Why is that not sticking? Because I've got sticky on my finger and it's resisting back at me. There we go. Now it's not going anywhere. And mush it into the fabric. It's not like paper where it just slithers across the top. You've got to mush it in. I don't want to cover the writing because we want to see what Edith wrote about this plant. I don't want to cover the center of those lilies because I think that's where I want to stitch. Like highlight that. Highlight maybe the back of him with some bullion knots. Yes, 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 yes. Highlight those little reeds. That's the way to do it. Get a hard surface other than a sticky finger. Gosh, it looks like I've just stitched into it just by adding that. That's great. Okay, now this little guy is going to go. Yes. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's great. Oh, I tell you, I just couldn't, I don't know. I think I'd put so much thought into the front. I hadn't yet really worked out how am I going to bring Edith into these random pages throughout my book. And I guess if autumn comes along, I don't even know if that's up the right way. I think it is. If autumn comes along, I've got a page ready to sort of be in that vicinity. Having said this, if this is a disaster, we might use the page for a doorstop. We'll see. I think it'll work back, guys. Even if you don't stitch and you just embellish the page with some of your gorgeous trims, you know, you might think, oh, I'm not going to risk ruining a beautiful Edith page. Do I put it that way? I think it needs to go that way. So it looks like it's part of that and not heading off in another direction. That is not going anywhere. Can still see Edith's words. See, that really, oh, you know how you've got in Edith's book lots of pages of text and poems? Pages like that are, you want to include some of her words. You could just pull out pieces like that and then embellish with some fabrics and some laces, stitch, and then add them into your journal. So I think it definitely could be something. The other thing, this image here, I just love it. And these thistles, we've got a similar version in Australia, not the same one, I don't think. Maybe I haven't researched the actual thistles themselves. It's great that she's given us the names. So now we can have a look at the Aussie one and see if it's from the family. But the thistle, this one here, look what I found when I was hunting out stuff. I found that. So I grabbed it, put it aside. Then I found that, and I'm like, oh, I think my Edith book is getting more and more neutral, and let Edith be the colour. But I don't know. See how it changes? That's what I love about these projects, is as your journey goes through, things change. The fabrics that I just showed you, they're original, and that's the dyed one. This guy was this colour. So I'm definitely going to be doing some more tea staining or Parisian essence or coffee, you know, whatever. Okay. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's try wool. How's that for colour? Oh, is anyone nervous? I'm nervous. Gosh, can't believe I'm doing this live. Well, not live, but with you guys. And you know if it's a disaster. Do I do a really big needle? Doesn't make a big hole. My fingers are sticky. Talk about making it all difficult. I need to clean my fingers. I'm adding glue. Hang on, guys. Okay, I've got some cleaning wipes. We're 20 minutes into this adventure. Let's get the glue off the fingers. Some bullion knots would be good in there. Can you do a bullion knot? Maybe I need to get a scrap piece of fabric. Oh, no, just do it. Do we use a big needle with a big eye? What's needle here? Oh, we could use ribbon. This is a lesser eye. Just do it. I know you guys are at the camera going, just do it. Oh my goodness. Now just remember, this is only being glued probably 20 minutes ago. So maybe I try pistol stitch. See how there's two layers there? I sort of think this could be pistol stitches. And then in here I could maybe do do I do a hole? Oh, hang on guys. I'm just looking for a stylist. Now I've got a hard surface underneath, thinking if I come up there, oh, this is Grandma's old stylist. She's made out of a pen. Use a needle. So if I come up there and my pistol stitch would finish there. What do you reckon? So I'm coming up there. That's the way to do it, is think about your stitch. Oh, that's not even the hole. There's the hole. Come up there. Oh, that feels really strong, guys. And there's my hole to go down. For those of you who have already done this, wow, that is great. So do I make the next planned holes like that, using the needle that I'm using? Yep, that's the way to do it. So put away a second needle, put away the stylist. Don't need any of that. Then I can see where my plan is to come up. It has closed a little, so be bolder. There it is. There we go. Do our little knot. And down she comes. Oh, Wow. I'm going to be brave. No, don't be brave. Make a hole. Make a hole. Make a hole. Make a hole. Getting brave now, aren't we? I think I could probably drop this needle size down. Let's get a little finer, because the bigger the hole, pretty sure I can get this yarn. This is gumnut yarn, but there's heaps of brands out there that are the wools. Appleton is another one. I even saw DMC's bringing out a range, or has brought out a range. Thought, yep, they're in on it as well. Here's my next one. Yeah, that's better. Finer needle, as fine as you can go, but still have your wool in use. And then come around, make a couple more little holes. That is a petal coming over, so we can either carry on with the pistol stitch and ignore that, or just do a few little stitches in there, because those little stamens are now hidden by that little petal that she's drawn. So I think I'll do that. So now I'm just doing this. Oh, there's a little hair from the mat. Oh my goodness, this is a cracker, guys. You have to try this. If you can get your hands on a Edith book and you're game enough, you might be able to, because you're not selling it and it's for your personal use, maybe you can do a copy of it and then stitch into it if you don't want to sacrifice a book. Might be a less traumatic way of proceeding. You're not selling it. If you did a copy and you were a YouTuber, oh, I wouldn't be doing that, because you're profiting even from doing your video. So you'd have to definitely, you know, be careful. Let's try a bullion knot. So we would need to come up, through, twist. So same thing, 2 holes. What's going to help is this paper is supported, because I've got 2 holes really close there. This paper is supported by the fabric. Now I can't see my hole. Where did I put it? Way down there. There it is. Now I need to go back. Oh, it might be a bit much for a bullion, but we'll give it a go. I need to come back up near it, if not in that hole. There we go, we're through. Don't tear, please don't tear. There's, I need more glue there. I haven't let anything dry, that's the problem. So I'll come back to that lace. And so I've wrapped the needle around. Now I'm going to very carefully, bullions might be a bit too much for the paper, because you're sort of going back through the knots of the paper, but we'll see. It worked. Look, it worked. Gosh, you'd have to be gentle, but you might just do a few little bullions as, you know, a feature. But I think it worked. I might do another one over here. See, finding your hole. See, I came up in the leaf, in the petal. It really pays to make a hole first, I think, guys. Don't be tempted just to guess. You might be disappointed. If you've already done this before, you've got some tips for us, throw them in the comments, so that for us who are like on this little adventure can have a quick look down at the comments, and there might be just something you guys can throw into the mix that I haven't considered. I'm sort of just going with my gut here. All right, so I would say I can get a few bullion knots in there. I might change up the colours, and I'd say I might be able to get a few little French knots just to make the centre of that feeling, you know, a little more textured. But I think it's going to work. I'd say I'll be able to definitely do bullions across this little guy. I'll create some ridges. Let's have a look at these little fellows up here. Do we do something brown? Of course, there's nothing brown. Maybe I'll do the wheat in a golden colour and not try and match the brown. That's what I'm going to do. Now this needle, there it is. Oh, imagine then coming through here and adding some feather stitch or some, you know, some stitches from your mind into this and building up a bit of a thing here. Now, so we need 2 holes to do a lazy daisy, don't we? Let's do 2 holes. Through we come, around, down that same hole, and then up at that hole we made at the top. Let's see what that, can't quite see it. Probably being very cautious, and I could be a bit braver with my holes there, but let's have a look. Oh, and then back down that same hole. Oh, guys, that's great. Lazy daisy is a good one. So let's make a couple more holes for our little wheat. So let's maybe connect a stitch in there to there. And that'll give us a stalk. Get us a little bit further out. And then we need to come back and do a lazy daisy, but if I come back through that same hole, normally you'd skip a thread or 2 and come back up. So I think I might just do another stalk sneaking out here. So get them in place. You've got to really think about what the stitch is that you're doing and where would you go next with your needle. So let's just get the stalk in place. Now I can come back over here and do a lazy daisy. So I'll make the hole for the top of the daisy. I can pop back up through that first stalk's hole, and my thread won't come out because I went over here and did this stalk. Go back down through and then come up the top of the lazy daisy hole. And then back down through. There we go. Now I can come, oh, I've pricked my finger, hold. Goodness me, now we've got a bleeder. Now I need a hole to go back down, so we'll swing it out there. So we're coming back down to come back. Oh, No stitching into paper, heaven forbid. The journey that those Roxy girls have taken us on. Oh my goodness, there we go. And I think I could do another one there. So I'm going to be going down there in a moment. So we're going back into there. Only to pop up there. So it's Tuesday for me. I'm not sure what day you're watching this. I've got a few pre-recorded videos for, you know, if I don't have anything to do with this project, they slide in. So I might bump something a week forward so that you guys can see this, because we're going to have prompts coming before we know it. And it might give you some, oh, I love it. I love it. I think I could come back down here and there and do another lazy daisy. So I know I have 2 videos already filmed, the sea and working on that. So maybe it's just consecutive and you've had 3 days of my Roxy videos in a row, or maybe I've left something else in the middle. I don't know. You'll see. There we go. And I think I can connect that little guy back to that original stalk, which would make sense. Bam. Oh. Okay, how do you knot this off? So we go, do I need to? No, because there's more. Don't knot it off yet. But knotting off shouldn't be too hard. We just stick to going through your threads. But I can come up into here and here. That is going to work beautifully. Oh, love it. Excellent. Okay, so let's just let that sit for a bit, because remember, I only glued it like 20 minutes ago, and here I am flipping it around in my hand. So I need to let that dry and maybe come back to it later this afternoon. So this little guy still needs a little extra. So what I want to do is fussy cut out some more little morsels. And I need to find the rest of this fabric. I know I've tucked it in somewhere. And get it tea-dyed, or Parisian essence, so that it's ready to go. Just getting the excess fabric out. Fussy cutting it out. I want the cover to be quite dense with detail. So I feel like it could even be worked on a little bit more even after this, but we'll see. I'm going to separate that through there. I'm just going to take a punt that I would want that. I'd rather have little bits, even if they rejoin and were once where they once were. Doesn't matter, because I might need to bring it closer. I don't think that's any good, that big. So I'm going to break down that, and possibly that needs to be separated more. We'll see. I'm going to break off that. I'll leave that for a moment. So this type of work sort of reminds me of white work. So if you're searching for some pieces that are like this, maybe search the word white work doilies, white work tablecloth runners. Those types of words might help you track down something in the description. Sometimes it's hard to know the exact word that a piece of embroidery is to find it. especially if you're new to this and you're like, well, what do they call that? Okay, so get that little bit under there. He's popped up. So that's a fine little piece of, maybe that could come through there. I feel like I could get a bigger piece in there. That's pretty good. I like that. There's nothing happening here. So I think that's what sort of set me off on this tangent. I had this gap here. So I'm thinking it needs to be a little bit more interesting, like that. And then this here felt a bit gappy. So maybe that or that. It's times like these you wish your field notes words were smaller, but it's all good. We can squish it up because we've given ourselves the reason to be textured for, you know, flexibility. Have I got any more bits? Is that all I got? Oh my goodness, there's never enough of anything. I'm going to have to find more bits to, you know, dye. Don't mind that, but I could probably lose that. What does that come up through here? Don't want to cover that up there. No. I think this could meander up there. Yeah. If that becomes a little bit squished. Now that gives me some flowers there, there and there that I could do some stitching into some beadwork or something like that. I might just make this a little tighter in shape. And I'm tempted to cut off this tiny little bit at the top, but I'll leave it for a moment because maybe with a little bit of squishing and manipulating, I can get it in. Yeah. So it looks like it connects into there and then swings around, or I bring it higher from this side. Maybe that's better. Yep, that's better. And if that comes up a little bit, it's going to pin him. It's like just piecing it all together. And when you go to stitch it, you might decide that that needs to be under something, so you can always loosen what you've stitched already and get it to sit exactly where you want it. And because it's fabric, you can twist and manipulate things like that and bring him down a bit. That's better. Okay, now this guy, I think he needs to be fussy cut a little bit tighter to him, especially this side because it's encroaching on my little peekaboo here. I've been tossing up stitching into this and I'm like, no, that's me sketching. That's as you go through this book, when I want to pick up a black pen and sketch, that's that. And I think neutral then allows Edith to shine, is sort of how I'm thinking it through in my little noggin. once I get my theme or style anchored in this journal, I think it'll be a lot easier, because as the prompts roll through, I'll be like, right, is that a sketch page? Is it an Edith page? Or is it a collaging page like the cover where I just freeform? So it's going to give me lots of wriggle room. Then I'll revisit the fabrics, and I think Lucello's out. Actually, I'm going to put the box of Lucello fabric back in the cupboard. I just don't think it works. Plus, the other thing that was bugging me, and I even said it out aloud in the video, is Lucello is French inspired. It's an Australian company, but it's all French inspired work. There's a lot of toile images in there and things like that. And I sort of felt like, unless Edith went to Paris for a holiday, I'm like, what's it got to do with Edith? So that was bugging me a bit. As I said it out aloud to you guys, I'm like, you know, it's a bit of a stretch. I'm liking that. We've got more of a dense thing happening here. That's disappearing back, which is good. Yeah. Let's have a look at this side. I think all that's pretty good, even to trim it down a little bit more. I don't think I need to. And nestle it in there. I'm going to pin it. Happy with that. This little piece could sit in front. Yep. It peeks into there. Then this guy, because he's covering the F, I can actually trim a little bit out of there and manipulate that leaf back with a little pleat to help it sit. There we go. The only thing I'd like to see is something up here, but maybe I don't need it. Up in here. Maybe I don't need it, and I don't have anything anyway. Maybe I put a bit of that. It ties in that. You know what'll happen. I'll go and find the rest of this fabric and stain it all up, and then I'll be back adding more bits. Yeah, I might just do that. It just connects it a little bit. And it's stitched. Someone has stitched into all that to make that grid system. So it's a lovely little detail. Do I need it? Probably not, but it's going in. It's a morsel that the girl can't let go. We got anything else? There's nothing, Corrine. Put it down. Okay. Happy with that. Now, this is a little bit of this. I thought maybe. No. Then I had a little bit of French lace. No, save it for a rainy day. I had this guy. No, save for a rainy day. They can go in my box of tricks. We've got a butterfly. He needs to be dyed because he looks weird. Oh, there's this here. Maybe that could have come up. No, looks too much. The butterfly feels like I'm plonking it on for the sake of plonking it on. Oh, I don't mind it up there, but it needs to be dyed. We'll see. Clip it all together and put it with future pieces that need to be dyed. Okay, all right. I don't know what the time is, but that's where I'm at. I will continue to stitch this all down. I'll probably come through now. See how that seems so plain? I might come through there and seed stitch through that whole area so it just sort of mushes together as one piece of texture. All right, so we've got more work to do on the cover. And flip it open either way, because that's the beauty of a concertina. I've got the potential of my Edith stitched pages, not to mention anything else I create. So there's sort of three scenarios. There's sketching it because we've gone for a walk through somewhere and found something. Actually, not so much with this. It'd be literally looking at English countryside imagery and sketching whatever the prompt is, then embellishing, and then maybe taking it to fabric to do, there's a pin there, this type of work, and then maybe bringing in a bit of Edith with a bit of this type of work. So I think it's going to all mush together in that fashion. I hope that helps anyone who's still floundering with where they're going to head with their project. Don't limit yourself to maybe one activity within your book. Try and create some little sub-activities where you create little stitcheries. Another thing I was thinking too is just getting a random little piece of fabric. Maybe it's, you know, that size, and doing a little study of something. Let's say a prompt is an insect, and this becomes my insect page. It's all embellished with stitch. I then create a Corrine special. Just go for it with all textiles. But then I might want to draw a beetle or a bug or a butterfly and then stitch into it. And then this little morsel can be just pinned. Got needles and pins everywhere. Could just be pinned into your journal as just little bits that you clip in. And it could be as simple as a little decorative paper clip. I remember doing that with the journal. Is a decorative paper clip with some little beads on it. Just holds it into position. I don't know. Something to think about, guys. We've got lots of potential with this project. Your journals, I think, are going to be quite chunky and luscious and beautiful. Anyway, I'm going to stop yibber-yabbering. I'm going to let this dry for a few hours. How are we going for time? 52 minutes. Perfect timing. So I will catch up with you when I see you. Like I said, I don't know what day you're watching this, so whether we're waiting patiently for another Roxy video, possibly, or that was last night and it's now Thursday, or it won't be Friday because Stitch the Seasons is Friday. So okay, talk to you later. Bye.